I have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Peace and blessings, mob family. What's going on? Welcome to another brainstorming session. If you are already familiar with our community, you already know what it is. You already know we love to communicate, we love to share knowledge, and we love to just drop gems every single time. This is for the community. If you've been rocking with us, welcome back. We're always excited to just drop some gems on you guys and figure out how we can help you guys change the world at the end of the day. This is all about economic growth, and also putting a couple dollars in your bank account, because who can't use a couple extra dollars in your bank account, and to help you guys build generational wealth. At the end of the day, this is where entrepreneurs, creators, and game changers come together weekly and share ideas, solve challenges, and build real life strategies for real businesses at the end of the day. So, hey, if you're on, with us live, make sure you guys follow, like, and subscribe. Share this channel with somebody that that's out here building, whether they already have a business or they've been thinking about starting a new one. We're always open to just different types, different backgrounds. We don't discriminate, so share it out to somebody that you feel like you can actually benefit, that's out here doing the work. Also, actually, this is super big for you guys, because we're actually going to start doing our website audits for you guys, where we're actually going to be pulling up, we're going to be going live, pulling up your websites, going through your websites, and figuring out how we can actually help you guys have, and basically create a better website for your business. Or if you already have a nice put together website, this will be a great opportunity to promote it. We love promoting you guys. At the end of the day, we're only as strong as our community. So make sure you guys drop your websites in the comments. That way we can kind of pick through some of your websites and figure out which websites we're actually going to be hosting on our live website audits. This is actually going to be something that we're going to be doing new this year. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see those websites. I'm excited to see how we can actually help you guys. As you guys know, we have a great web design team. So, if you don't have a website and you need one, this is the year to get one going. Definitely connect with us, so we can figure out a way to help you guys. Also, if you tapped in with us, make sure you guys also put in the comments what problem you're solving with your company, or what challenge you plan to overcome this year. This is super big, you guys, because I know everybody around this time is always about New Year resolutions, but how can we figure out how can we actually get these resolutions done this year? Hey, again, we have another special guest for you guys. But before we get into that, I really want to make sure you guys are tapped in with our community. I really want to make sure you guys are updated. We got a lot of great updates on our website this year. We actually just did a whole revamp. So make sure you guys check out some of the updates we have on our website. If you're not familiar with our community, definitely check out our mission statement. Check out some of the features and some of the ways that you can actually benefit from our website, and also check out some of our services. Whether you're in need of business funding, whether you need help with business plans and strategies, AI automation, advertising and marketing. If you need help juggling some of these social media sites that you have, I know it can become a lot. Trying to juggle all of these social media sites, from Instagram to TikTok to YouTube to Facebook. So if you're somebody that just find yourself just too busy, or you really just don't understand digital marketing, we have a great social media team. So definitely reach out. Also, if you're looking for custom merchandise, to brand your company, we have a great team for that. Also, definitely check out our video and audio production team, our photography team. And again, if if you don't have a website, or if you have a website that you want to revamp, definitely check out our website and graphic design team. Hey, we're here for you. We have all of these different resources is for you guys. Definitely also check out some of our 12 modules. These are all of the elements that you need to operate a business. So it's super important that we're familiar with these different elements. And also, if you're a member, these are the top elements that we pretty much go through when it comes to making sure that we're operating properly. At the end of the day, and I can't stress it enough, small business owners is the background of our community. So, we just want to make sure that you guys have all the resources, all of the tools that you need to, be successful out here. Also, make sure you guys subscribe and like some of the content. Make sure you guys tap into Mob TV. It's pretty much a Netflix for business owners. We have a lot of great stories on there. We have, of course, that's where our brainstorming session recaps are as well. So if you want to go back on some of the brainstorming sessions we've had, in the past, and kind of tighten up on some of them gems, definitely check out Mob TV. We got exclusive interviews, commercials we've produced and shot for different companies as well. All different types of content. We're just trying to level out the playing field. We've got a lot of content out here, a pool of content. We just want to make sure that we're putting out content that actually helps and motivates you guys. So make sure you guys, check out Mob TV as well. And if you don't do anything else that I tell you, please make sure you guys check out our resource center as well. We have, everything from ebooks like our Business Credit Ain't Scary ebook. We have, resources to help you with your credit, help you get funding through grants. You name it. We actually have unconventional funding on there. So if you're somebody that just need an extra kit, you actually need some extra resources, make sure you guys check out our resource center as well. Again, we have a lot of great programs that we're going to be focusing on this year. And one of the programs we're focusing on is our Friend in the Mob program. These last couple of years, we've really been, wrecking our brain on how can we get the community involved a little bit more, especially for the ones who might not own a business or have a project that they're working on. They just love what we're doing out here in the community. If you want to become a friend of the mob and donate towards our programs, definitely check out this program, because we need all hands on deck at the end of the day. Especially for our STEAM program, which we're working on getting off the ground for the youth this year. We're looking for more donors, more supporters, more sponsors to help us, reach more people and more kids at the end of the day. We're looking to support and help over 100 kids this year. So if you want to, if like I said, all hands on deck. If you want to, help us out with that, definitely check out our Friend in the Mob program and become a donor. For the most part. Also check out some of our sponsored members and affiliates, some of the brands that we've worked with over the years. Check out some of the wonderful things that they have going on. Like I said, we're nothing without our community, so we love bragging on you guys. We love, when you hit new milestones, and we love when you just, continue on doing your dreams. A lot of people didn't make it, to 2026. So, we have to make sure that we're supporting the ones that did, and making sure that, they have longevity at the end of the day. It's super hard, to be an entrepreneur. It's super hard running a business. I know social media make it look super easy, but the reality is, we all need support sometimes. So, it's always good to support each other and lift each other up. That's what the mob community is all about. Speaking of lifting each other up, also check out our affiliate program. If you're somebody that that love to connect with other people, love to connect people with different resources, definitely check out our affiliate program. We're always looking for new affiliates, new people to bring in, more people to our community at the end of the day. It's one of those things where we all everything going full circle. If you know somebody that have a business or is thinking about starting a business, bring them into our community. You will get paid a commission based off of whatever membership they lock in on, and at the end of the day, they get the resources that they need, and we're all happy. at the end of the day. So make sure you guys check out our affiliate program and check out some of the latest updates that we have as well, as far as our virtual um, marketplace where we have new merchandise, some of our programs, our content days. If you need a content day to revamp your headshots or commercials or anything like that, this is where you can actually secure your spot. And definitely follow us on our social media platforms. We're always posting different content based around entrepreneurship, economic growth, and that's what it's all about, you guys. So again, we do have another special guest for you guys, and I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Um, hey, we have Queen Melanie on the line. What's going on, Queen? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello? Can you hear me?
You still muted. Let me see if I can reach you. There we go. There we go. What's going on, Queen? What's going
Good.
on? Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. What about yourself?
Good. Exhausted, but blessed as well.
Hey, that's how it is when you're a business owner. For the ones that's under a rock, let the people introduce yourself and let the people know who you are and what it is that you do.
I'm sorry, breaking up just a little bit. So my name is Melanie King. I am from Hampton, Virginia. I just recently, September 29th, actually opened a new 90s themed coffee shop, the first one in the area in Hampton, called Drip and Sip Coffee and Tea.
Can you hear me, Queen?
I can hear you.
There we go. There we go. There we go. That's how you know we about to have a great session. When we start having these type of problems right here, that's how you know we about to drop some gems. But they can't stop it. They can't stop it. They can't stop it. We back again. All right. So again, just for the people, introduce yourself one more time and let the people know what it is that you do.
Okay. My name is Melanie King. I am actually a 15-year real estate agent in Hampton, Virginia, but I recently just opened a 90s themed coffee shop called Drip and Sip Coffee and Tea.
That's super dope. That's super dope. That's super dope. So tell me some of the things that really separate your business from other coffee shops.
Off the bat, it's the vibes. So again, it's a 90s themed coffee shop. Like how many coffee shops do you walk into and they're playing, first of all, playing music at all? I noticed that a lot of shops I walked into were just like eerily quiet like and sterile. Um, we play all 90s jams, 90s music all day long. So first of all, just that, and then just the vibes. You walk in and it's just, remember the 90s was like full of color. Everything now is like white walls, clean lines. You walk into my coffee shop and the first thing you see is a mural of just all things 90s. I mean, there's Bart Simpson up there spray painting, the Fresh from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and it's just like a rainbow wall of colors. There's a Blockbuster sign, Nickelodeon. There's a sign that says just back to the 90s, the bomb, like just all the little fun catchphrases from the 90s. And then we have just different posters and of like Dumb and Dumber, the Dare poster, just transport you back to like I feel like I walk in out of 2026 and into 1995 whenever I walk into the shop. It's really dope.
Hey, you can't beat it when it comes to the '90s. I'm a '90s baby myself, so it's definitely the best era out there. So that's definitely something that you won me over already for the most part. Um, so real quick, I really want to dive into branding. This is something that we talk about a lot within our community, and actually one of our modules as well. What's the most common branding mistake you see most entrepreneurs make, and what do you feel like is a better approach?
I want to say the biggest mistake I see, or the most common mistake I see, is just not being consistent. They'll start off with something and then they'll kind of veer off to another direction and then maybe try to course correct and come back. Like, you definitely need to pick your branding, like pick what you want to be seen as, how you want to be recognized, how you want to be known, and just like stick with it through and through. And we've definitely made sure to do that at Drip and Sip. Everything you see, our logo, all of our branding, our merch, all of our socials, everything is going to be bright colors in your face and make you feel like you're watching like Saved by the Bell or walking into like an old school Taco Bell back in the day when they had all the colors and stuff.
No, I definitely agree. Consistency is definitely a big one. Being consistent across all platforms, your website, the whole nine. Because you don't want to confuse people. I think that's the biggest thing. It's so easy for people to be confused nowadays because there's so much out here. There's so much, especially with the internet nowadays. It's so overcrowded. So I think consistency is key. That was a great answer. So let's talk about marketing. This is another big one. That we love to talk about. And for some reason, this is something that most business owners have trouble with. With so much noise online, what's one marketing tactic you feel is still underrated that works?
I don't know how underrated it is, but social media, it's free and it just hits so many different demographics. And it's just the reach, it just happens so quickly. Like when something goes viral, it goes viral and hits a ton of people in a short amount of time. And that's exactly what somebody like me wanted with a brand new coffee shop. I wanted people to know about us so they could get in the door and open up their wallets and spend money so that I could continue to stay in business. Social media influencers, I think that is how we first went viral. Like some people, they talk about bad about, or that people don't like social influencers thing. I love it. I think it's great. They come in, they try our product. First of all, they walk in and they're just wowed by my space because as soon as you walk in, it just makes you feel good with all the colors and my baristas. Hey, welcome in. How you doing? What's up? And you walk in, you look at the menu, and there's all these different 90s themed, like we have like a Whoa Mama matcha, like a spinoff of Johnny Bravo when he used to say Whoa Mama. Did I do that? Hot chocolate, or Steve Urkel, like just fun stuff like that. That the social media influencers come in, they notice those things, they do their video, they post it, and then the people just go crazy. Like, whoa, where is this place? I want to experience that nostalgic feeling that you're talking about. So again, I don't know how underrated, but those are the things that I feel like have just been the best as far as marketing for my company.
You can't lose with that '90s theme. I swear you can't lose.
I
Automatic cheat code. Even the kids these days that's not that wasn't even alive during that time. You could see it. You could see the influence. You could see that they love that era still. Hey, again,
They're intrigued by it. They're intrigued by it heavily.
Hey, I mean, how can't they? It's the best era for sure. So let's talk about business planning. This is something that this is one of the first things that we talk about, especially when we bring on new members. This is something I'm big on, just putting together a plan, having a plan in motion. How often should entrepreneurs revisit their business plan? And what's the biggest red flag when it's time to update it?
So that would be hard for me to answer only because I haven't had to, like, I've only been open since September. I wrote my business plan maybe 8 months before that, and I haven't had to go back and redo anything yet because, interestingly, I'm hitting all the goals and all the marks that I had on my business plan. They're going according to plan. So I can't really answer that, but I think at the maybe 6 month mark of us being open, we've only been open a little over 3. So maybe at like the 6 month mark, I'll go back and recheck and maybe make some tweaks if need be. But as of right now, at least for me, my business plan, this is the first time I've ever had to do one because in real estate, I didn't have a business plan. I just had a mentor. He told me what to do. I followed his lead, and it took me a couple of years to get off the ground, but it was really just about, putting myself out there and learning the game and doing what I do.
I think it's different for everybody. I think every business is has their own inner workings.
Mhm.
I always suggest that you revise it or at least go over it every 3 months, every quarter. Because things
Mhm.
change. As we can see, the whole world changed in the last 5 years. So I think
Right.
it's always good to keep up with the times. I was just actually talking to another individual right before we got on this call, and we was talking about adapting. They was asking, they was talking about radio ads, and it was just like, in these times, it's all about podcasts. So why put money up, towards radio ads when most people is not even really listening to the radio. Most people are listening to
Mhm.
podcasts. So I think as times change, you really want to, and even you touched on social media influencers. That's a newer marketing tactic. So a lot of people may not have that included within their marketing strategy, within their business plan. So I think as the times change, as we see, I think digital selling is becoming super big right now. So so if you have a physical product or anything like that, I think that's something that you would want to add into your business plan, into your marketing strategy, different things like that. So I think this is something that I tell people all the time. Every quarter, at least sometimes you can go 6 months, depending on the type of business that you have. But I think
Mhm.
having a plan in general is super important. No matter what type of business you
Oh,
have, I think having
sure.
a plan is super important. So, man, I'm so glad that you hitting those marks. I love to see people just doing good. It just makes me feel good. Especially
Well, thank you.
so I love to see it. I love to see it. So since you have a brick and mortar, and most of it is customer service. What's your favorite way to turn someone into a loyal paying customer? I know you have the nostalgia. I know most of that leads to. I know people love coming back. But what's one of your favorite ways to really
Mhm.
turn someone into a long term customer?
So that's actually a really easy one. When you walk in our coffee shop, the first thing you're going to hear is, "Hey, welcome in. How are you?" My baristas and I make it a point, and the manager, we make it a point to make sure every person that walks in there feels seen. They know that we've seen them. We want you there. We appreciate that you're there. They're going to ask you, "Hey, is it your first time in? If so, hey, how'd you hear about us? Thanks for coming by." We're going to hand you one of the paper menus. All right, since it's your first time here, what do you usually like to get when you go to a coffee shop? Just that right there is letting them know, like, okay, we know you visit other coffee shops, but we want you to start coming here more often. So how can we earn your business, but your continuous business? They'll say, oh, I like more savory drinks. I do want a latte. I like iced or I like hot. And they'll give, like, the baristas will go around and give their suggestions, their personal drinks that they've either made up and put on the menu or just one of their favorites. Sometimes if we have extra like leftover, we'll make samples and just pass them around the shop and say, "Hey, I noticed earlier you got the You Go Girl, but hey, we made a cool like that, which is caramel and hazelnut with a little bit of cold foam on it. You want to give that a try?" Half the time they would have never ordered that, and now they're like, "I'm bringing my daughter back here this weekend. She would love this place." And then that one weekend turns into every Saturday to come get a breakfast sandwich and try a new drink on the menu and just hang out some other daughter time. Learning their
I love
names, when they walk in and we say, "Hey, Lori, hey, Mr. Allen, hey, Miss Elaine," like people love that, to feel like, again, like they're seen, they're important. Wow, I'm important enough that they remembered my name. The other day, I was sitting talking to somebody. This guy walks in, he goes to the register. My barista says, "Hey, so I got your drip and sip mocha, almond milk, extra cold foam." That he knew his entire order. It's like a 7-step process. And he remembered not only his name, but his exact order. And the guy, before he even got to the register, and he just stood there and he's like, "Wow, that was impressive." Yep, that's what I'll take today. And he's like, "That's why I keep coming back here, man. Y'all are on it." This makes people feel good, that they know we have hundreds of people in and out of the door every day, but those favorites or those VIPs that come, that are loyal, we recognize you, we see you, and we appreciate you.
That's a huge one. That's a huge one. It's crazy because I was actually a certified barista in college. And
Mhm.
that was one of the main things that kept people coming back because I remember their name, I remember their orders. It got to the point where people didn't want anybody else to make their drinks but me. And I would say that is a huge, huge pinpoint because people want to, especially when they're spending their hard-earned money, they want to feel appreciated. They want to feel special. Everybody want to be a VIP. Who don't want to be a VIP?
Yeah.
So I think it's super important, that we make them feel like that in whatever business it is. I think customer service is
Yeah.
super important, especially in our community. I know that's something that, you know, um, a lot of people, a big misconception that we don't have customer service, especially smaller businesses. But as you guys can hear, man, we have immaculate customer service, and it puts us in a position to give us, to be able to give that customer service, and specialize and give that special attention, because we are a little bit smaller. So I really love it. I think that's super big for sure. For sure, I definitely got to come try a latte or something for sure. So I
Right.
want to talk about um, funding and financial growth. This is a big one, especially in this last year. We just came out with our business credit ain't scary, just to kind of help people, get more into the position where they have the capital, when they're bringing in more funding. Especially in this last year, it's been super hectic for business owners. When it comes to funding, what funding opportunities do small business owners often overlook, especially in underserved communities?
I I'm honestly not sure, because I used most of my own money, because again, I sell real estate. So I invested early in my 20s. So I had a lot of the liquid, but even the liquid that I didn't have, I had properties that had equity that I was able to pull from. So I tell you that with startup, it's funding. So I struggled with that. I didn't want to touch my equity, and I really didn't. Like, who wants to spend all their liquid, right? I didn't want to, but whenever you're a brand new business, SBA was like, "Oh, you need a year under your belt." Okay, a lot of these grants and stuff. "Oh, well, you have to be in business for a year. We need to see at least 6 months of you." Well, how do I be open up a business if nobody wants to give money to try it? And I'm also in a position where I have, like, my parents. If I needed it, I could have went to my parents and they could have helped me out. But again, because of the real estate, I had a really good mentor in my 20s, and he taught me how to move and shake in the investment world and real estate. So I was able to just kind of put some stuff away and then have that nest egg to be able to ask, get all the no's, and then just go and say, "All right, well, forget it. I got it."
I think you touched on a few important topics. Of course, bootstrapping is where most of us start off at. We all start off, investing our own. Well, most of us start off investing our own money, unless you're somebody like Donald Trump, who have, they can get
Right.
$1 million loan. But at the end of the day, I think most small businesses start off bootstrapping, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I think you know I think what you said will motivate somebody else. But I think another thing that you touched on, is super important for community, family. Figuring out different ways to put together a plan and be able to go to your family and figure out how can they help you as well. Community,
Mhm.
you know, um, and really just going out to the community, getting other people to invest as well. I think is super important. I think where we at right now, because I think it's hectic right now. As far as the grants, the banks don't want to give you nothing. They don't want to invest in your company as well. And I think that's the main reason why we really started to focus on unconventional funding. Helping people understand the difference between good and bad debt, because a lot of us have misconceptions, and I was one of those people who was scared and terrified to open up a line of credit, because growing up, all you hear about credit is debt, people being in debt and misusing that credit. So I think us understanding and educating each other on good debt and bad debt, the difference, how to actually utilize lines of credit to reinvest into your company, so where you can actually pay that debt down and pay it back, and then now you have a flourishing business. So I think it's super important for us to know these different elements, even when it comes to angel investors. Helping our people. That goes back to having a plan, having a business plan, making sure that the ins and outs of your business is super important, because if someone is looking to invest in you, they want to know if you know exactly what you're talking about, or if it's just a hustle or a side gig for you. They want to know if you're just investing as you want them to be. So I think that's super important. I think hey, you blessed to be able to have parents that you can and I think that's super important for us to set ourselves up to where we can pass things down to our kids, and help them with their dreams and their aspirations. So I think that's super dope. I think that's really gonna hit home with somebody. And it's all about confirmations. That's what these is all about. I think it's so beautiful to have all different types of entrepreneurs on our brainstorming sessions for this reason. So you can hear different point of views, and get those confirmations. And when you really boil down to it, we all in the same boat. We all in the same boat. So moving on. I want to talk about networking and partnerships. In your eyes, what makes a business partnership truly a win-win for both sides?
I mean, as long as it's beneficial for both businesses, depending on what it is. Like, I guess in the lane of, so with my business, I'm a new coffee shop, I need exposure. And then I have these social media influencers that come in. They come in, we do a collab together. I offer, they get a sandwich or food or whatever, and a couple of drinks to try out. They do the review, they tell everybody what their thoughts were. I don't pay for these reviews. Like, I'm one of those people, I set off the jump. Like, I don't want to start out being a business that pays for reviews. But whenever they drop the videos and they get, I think the one Stormy Blue did has like on Instagram, like 150,000, is it likes or views or something? Either way, it reached a ton of people. That boosts her, right? So it's beneficial for her. And then in turn, the day she dropped our video, we did probably one of our biggest days since opening the doors. So it's mutually beneficial as long as both people have something to gain from it in the end, and in a positive way.
I agree. I think I've been in business for about 17 years. I've been an entrepreneur, and over my years, I've been in situations where, and this is one of the main reasons why I ask this question. I touch on these things because I think it's such a stigma on collaborations, right? You hear that word a lot, and throughout my experience, most of the time when people talk about collaborations, it's because they want something from you, but we really never think about how can we actually offer some value as well. So I think that's super important for us to do when it comes to collaborating, which is key. I think it's super important for us to collaborate, but I also feel like we also have to have in mind how can we actually add more value to the next person. I think that's super important. So real quick, I want to talk about, and this is a question that I usually that I should maybe speak ask a lot more. So we're gonna touch on legal structure and protection. What's one legal step every entrepreneur should take early to protect their business?
Um, So with me, in real estate and in the coffee shop, with real estate I created an S corp, and I made sure to always have my attorney like on standby. LT Kaplan is my go-to. Anything happens with any one of my deals, I make sure like he's on standby, got his cell phone number. And then on the coffee shop side, same thing, LLC. I did trademark my logo, and I basically just I have a not really legal, but I have a CPA to protect me from the tax people bothering me and making sure all my numbers and all that stuff is in line, and then just having a business attorney to just be able to, hey, I've got this issue with one of my employees, or hey, this guest came in here and I don't know, this hasn't happened yet, but mention, they're going to sue us because, I don't know, we accidentally put whole milk in their drink that should have been oat milk, whatever, right? Like just making sure you have somebody that can handle the things you don't know how to handle.
Teamwork make the dream work, and you have to have the right people on your team, people, for sure. I think you touched on a few things, especially, something that you touched on that we touch on a lot is the structure. You have to structure your business properly, you guys. And before you do anything, you want to make sure that, and this is something that we touch on in our business credit and scary ebook as well. I think that's the first thing we touch on. We call it no pajamas, right? That's the chapter name. You wouldn't walk into a bank with pajamas on. You want to make sure that your business is structured in a way where when people is looking at it on paper, it's suit and tie. So I definitely agree with you. And hey, that's super big. You guys here right here. This is not scripted. I think and I say that a lot because some of these things, a lot of these things I talk about a lot. If people know, if you guys know me, if you guys been on a consultation with me, these are the things that we already talk about. But it's always good to hear it from somebody else. Especially for somebody that's out here doing the work, putting the work in. Right, you're out here, you're doing it, not some fake guru that we barely see actually doing it. You're right, so I love to hear it from people that's actually out here, running their business and doing something for the community. So here's a fun one. I love to talk about tech and automation. We all know AI is taking over so crazy right now, and we're actually in the process of organizing our AI master classes. We have some great Stack developers that's going to be on. Shout out D Hudson, actually one of our main Stack developers that's actually going to be hosting our AI master class. Basically just showing you guys how to incorporate AI. We're at a point where it's super important. And if we don't incorporate it right now and learn about it, or at least put someone on our team who knows about it, we're going to be in trouble. So what simple automation or tool do you think, even if you don't have it right now, what simple automation or tool do you think will save you guys the most time or help you scale?
Already does ChatGPT, hands down. Hands down. Because remember, we're a 90s themed coffee shop. So we naturally, I try not to incorporate a whole lot of tech or futuristic stuff because I'm trying to keep it authentic. Like it's the 90s. No, this was back before then. I have a small sign like this big that says we do offer Wi-Fi, but I'd rather people come in and sit and talk to each other like it's the 90s again. But yeah, Chat GPT we use probably daily in the shop.
I love it. It's crazy. I've been putting people on Chat GPT probably over 2 years now, and I love to see the progression. Those same people come back, and the production of their company is just A1. I do have an idea though. Maybe you should get dial-up internet. Remember AOA to dial? No, don't bring that back. Don't bring that back.
I would piss off a lot of people that come in there to do work.
That's one thing that can stay back then. That can stay. They can keep that. They can keep
Right.
that. I think we're the last generation that's going to remember that. Remember those times. It took an hour. It took us an hour to get on the internet. It was crazy. And then you couldn't get on the
And
house
don't let
phone.
somebody call while you're on it, because then you get kicked off.
Definitely, definitely. They can keep that one. They can,
Oh,
the past
the
can keep that.
struggle.
They can keep that one. I love it. I love it though.
Facts.
ChatGPT is definitely a good one. Gemini, shout out to Gemini. I think we, really been using Gemini a little bit more than ChatGPT lately. They definitely stepped it up. But hey, man, shout out to the language model AIs. It's definitely been a game changer. And like I said, if you are a company, if you have a company, if you have any type of project that you're working on, you must incorporate AI for sure. Let's understand it. Let's learn it. Let's incorporate it, people. Let's work smarter, not harder at the end of the day. So,
I also use another point about the AI stuff saved me probably $20,000 when I was actually doing the design of my space. I had reached out to some designers trying, okay, I'm going to support local designer, come help me figure out how to figure out what like lights to use, try to figure out the placement of all my different chairs and what color chairs we should get, tables. And I was getting quotes for like $19,000. And I'm like, does that include all the furniture? No, no, that's just for our services. And I'm like, you do realize it's 1,200 square feet. And I just am asking you for lights and furniture placement. And yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm not spending that kind of money. I went and spent $400 on a website called 5D Planner, and AI helped me with like a separate person who jumped in as well. But yeah, 5D Planner for $499 did my whole layout, design, and color and everything. And all I had to do was go online, pick out the furniture, buy it, and when it came, set it up. 20 grand compared to 499.
huge.
It's
And
crazy.
this is one of the reasons why AI will be taking a lot of people jobs. It's
Yeah.
projected to take over 300 million jobs. But I don't look at it as it's pros and cons and everything. I think as it take away jobs, it's also going to provide jobs. It's going to provide and it's
100%.
going to create different positions. Like what we're creating right now, which is AI consultants. And
Hmm.
different things like that. I think is really gonna, not only take jobs, but it's also going to create jobs. And I think that's another reason why it's super important for us to get ahead of this thing. And especially for the people that jobs is going to take, you guys better hurry up and get on it because we're steady advancing and it's steady advancing every single day. I love it. I love it. That was a great decision that you made to not, to really just, take a step back and adapt to what's going on and make that decision to go with the alternative at the end of the day. And it worked out for you for sure. I love that.
Yeah, big time.
So let's talk about leadership and team building, right? How do you know when it's time to hire or delegate, and who should you first? Who should your first key hire be, as far as friends,
So,
family, different things like that?
oh yeah, definitely probably not friends and family. But as far as I go, I did it a little differently. I had talked to a few other coffee shop owners that were like, "Oh yeah, you're probably going to have to work in the business probably the first couple of years." And I was like, "Okay, first of all, I'm a real estate agent that I opened this coffee shop to honor my brother that passed away who loved the 90s. So this was not on my bingo card in life to own a coffee shop. There's no way that I'm stepping away from real estate, which is where I make all my money to run a coffee shop. So I just made it a point to be able to cut corners with certain things like that 20 grand that I saved by not having to pay a designer. And I dumped all that into just out the gate, hiring a manager and like and then I hired another coffee shop's manager. Like I took a manager from another coffee shop who already had experience to come in and help me build this from the ground up. I've never worked in a coffee shop. So bringing her in I was able to say, okay, go ahead and build this out for me. Help me understand the nuances and everything goes on behind the scenes. But I really don't want to be here every single day, all day, and certainly not for 2 years. I'll do the first 30 days or 90 days, the first quarter, But then, okay, y'all got to get, y'all can do this on your own. I'm definitely still a working owner. I still am very present. I'm there often. The way we built out the bar, we put like a bar on the end where there's like high top seating that you can sit and talk to the baristas and stuff. I sit there a lot of the times when people walk in. I speak to everybody when I am there. I'll go behind the register and I help out. But I knew I did not want to be there all day, every day running a coffee shop. That wasn't the plan. So I went ahead and invested very early on with a manager. I hired as many people as I could afford in the beginning, but then as we grew so fast, we grew our this coffee shop took off so much faster than I was even prepared for. We got really lucky and we ended up hiring three more people that just caught on so quickly, and now we're in a good space. However, we've also already outgrown our little 1,200 square foot space. So that's another story, another issue for another day. But I knew that it was time to hire a manager before I opened the doors because I knew I wasn't interested in being working for 2 years at a coffee shop. That even if I do own it, I knew I didn't want to do that. So again, just making sure I had, and that was already in my business plan too. I already knew that from jump that I was not going to be on payroll as like a paid employee there, and I wasn't going to be managing this place by myself. So I had already had in my business plan, I have a manager, and then have I think I hired three full-time baristas and then myself. So it after the first post went viral with Stormy Blues, right after that I went ahead and hired two more and then one extra for the holidays. And like right now we're good. We'll need another person eventually, but for now we're good. And I'll be able to tell looking at the numbers, and if the labor is, 12% one day, but my whole team was burnt out because they got their butts handed to them on a Saturday. All right, we can afford to hire another person to fill this spot so that I'm not burning out my team. So it's just about a matter of just watching the numbers.
That's super important. That's super important. One, it's super important to know your strengths and weaknesses, and know what you're interested in. At the
Oh
end
yeah.
of the day, I think most people go into a business because of the passion that they have, and they don't really understand all of the elements that come with it. And then when they start off, when they get to rolling, they understand that they have to play a lot of positions that they really wasn't interested in playing. And I think
Right.
that kills a business. I've seen a lot of businesses die that way. So I think it's super important to know exactly what it is that you're interested in doing. One, I think that was super big.
Right.
And then delegating the rest, putting together the team. I think you're only as good as your team and the tools that you use as a
Yep.
business owner. So that was great feedback. I appreciate you for them gems, Tony, for sure.
Of
So,
course.
real quick, I don't want to hold you up too much longer. I love to talk about mindset and motivation. I think, out of all of our modules, I think this is the most important one. It should be module one. But at the end of the day, what mindset shift has had the biggest impact on your growth? How did you keep yourself motivated when things got hard?
So I suffer tremendously from imposter syndrome. I don't know why. I have my whole entire life. And even whenever I first had this idea to do a coffee shop, I talked myself out of it like six times. Like, no, Mel, like you've never even worked in a coffee shop before. You don't know how to run a brick and mortar. You don't even know that much about coffee or the coffee culture. You're a real estate agent. That's where you do well. Just stick to that. And I would just talk myself out of it. But again, I read the book Start with Why by I think it's Simon Sinek or something like that. Start with why, and I had to keep reminding myself my why for even opening this coffee shop was to honor my brother. If I'm honoring my brother and I'm talking myself out of it, well, then I'm not honoring my brother because this is what I decided to do. I wanted to open a 90s themed. He would have wanted it to be a bar, but I have a 2 year old, so that wasn't going to happen. A 90s themed coffee shop, somewhere that we could bring people together just like in the 90s. We had friends from all different nationalities. Grew up in the military, and we just love that. We love that about our upbringing. So if I was going to do that to honor my brother, I had to persevere and push through, no matter how hard it got, from just nobody wanting to even open doors for me because, well, you don't have any experience in brick and mortar. Yeah, but I have a business plan, I have assets, I have money in the bank, I have great 800 credit score. None of that mattered to some people. So I was getting frustrated and, just forget it. I don't even want to do this because I'm not begging anybody to give them thousands of dollars a month to rent a space and then drop another 100 grand into a space that they own, building it into a coffee shop. I'm not begging you to do that. So once I had to like push my pride to the side, like, all right, just keep going because we're doing this for AK. We're doing this for AK. So that's what a lot of it was. Just having to keep reminding myself that one, you do belong here. I've done all the work. I did everything I was supposed to do in my 20s and in my early 30s to get to this point. I'm able to do it. So pull the trigger and get it done for your brother. And I did. And it's just such an amazing way to honor him every single day. So I'm really proud of myself for pushing through and making it to the finish line.
I'm proud of you as well, Queen. That was a
Thank
huge
you.
one. Remember your why. Remember
Hmm.
why. I'm gonna keep that in my back pocket, even for for what we do. Because I think our why is super important, and sometimes it gets hard. It gets frustrating. Um, you know, Especially in the climate that we in. It's super tense. And I think that's the key. Remembering your why, or even trying to
Hmm.
figure out your why. If you guys if you're somebody that own a business and you don't really understand the why, because of course most people get in the business to make money, but I think having a deeper rooted why is super important as well. To figure it out. And this is one of the reasons why I asked our audience to comment what problems are they solving. I ask this a lot. What problems are you solving within your community? Because sometimes that can help you with your why, as well. Even if you're not thinking about
Hmm.
it first. So I think that's super, super important. Real quick, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, and what's some of the challenges that you plan on overcoming to get there?
In 5 years, I would like to have at least two drip and sip locations, like brick and mortars, at least two, and a food truck, a coffee truck, so we can go around and do different events and farmers markets and stuff like that. We get people that come from across the water all the time that are like, "You need to be in Virginia Beach. Why are you in Hampton?" And I'm like, "Well, first of all, no Hampton slander. That's the crib. Relax." But also just they already have a lot going on that side of the water. I wanted to do something on this side. So even Drip and Sip Part 2 is probably, spoiler alert, probably not going to be across the water. I just really enjoy the peninsula. Maybe the second one in Richmond. I love Richmond. And then just the truck, just being able to go anywhere, right? As long as we have a permit for that city. Um, I see the same thing, the same issues that I had with this one probably repeating themselves. Just dealing with all the inspections and the contract. The contractor, my contractor was great, but just getting a good contractor, I went through a headache dealing with doing these interviews and getting these bids and stuff. And again, that's the story for another day. Just like the different personalities, I'll say, of the contractors that wanted the jobs and the ones that I hired. Working with the city of Hampton was incredibly difficult. I've never been quiet about how hard I had to work to open something for my community so that Hampton can take tax money from me. Like, I'm opening so that you guys can make money too. Why is this so hard? But they have reached out, and we're going to work on that. Um, Having people not wanting to lease to me. I don't think I'll have that issue this time around now that Drip and Sip is popping as it is, but just that whole thing, the imposter syndrome, the whole like, you know what, maybe I should just stop while I'm ahead. I don't want to scale too quick and then fail like a lot of people do, right? Like I don't have a big head about this at all. I know a lot of people, make some money the first month and are like, "Oh, I need five more locations. Let's dump all our money into." No. Like I am very much so. This is a marathon, not a sprint. I'm very business savvy. I'm smart. But those are the things that I think I'm going to have trouble with. I don't see an issue with funding just because now I'll have that year under my belt. It will show a making basically going in the right direction. I'll have all the debt that I acquired to get this place up paid off in less than a year. So yeah, yeah, probably those things. Hopefully not much else. And I hope to get over my imposter syndrome, especially as we keep going and I keep growing and building. One of my favorite quotes that I saw, I actually want to get a poster made of it. Somebody did this quote. It said, what if I fail? Because that's what I always say. Well, what if I do all this? I dump my life savings into this and I fail. And it said, the other part says, but what if I fail? And it says, oh, but honey, what if you fly? And I'm like, that's so true. So did it. I flew, and hopefully my plan that you asked about will happen. It will come to fruition. I will be able to open a drip and sip part two, and we'll be able to get that truck up and running.
I love it. I love it. I think that's the best way to go. As far as actually having a food or any food trucks or anything like that. This last couple of years, I've really been pushing more people into that. Having something mobile is in right now. I think a great market, especially for that the theme that you have would be, our market, our main market, which is Atlanta. I think it will fly. It's a lot of mobile businesses in the area as well. So I would love to see that happen, and I can't wait. We got some festivals and stuff like that coming up, and I would love to, have you guys be a part of it as well. So I think that'll be a great move for you as well, and it's less of a headache too. I know how much of a headache brick and mortars can be, but it seems like you are killing it, and I'm just so proud of I'm just so proud of you, and I love to see it. I love to see success. I love to see people just live their dreams. So it's super big to be, just to be able to see that. Last question I have for you: what's some advice? What advice would you give a upcoming entrepreneur or a small business that may be struggling right now? You still there, Queen? Can you hear me? They don't want to. They don't want us to get that advice. Hopefully we get her back shortly. If you tapped in with us live, blow up that chat again. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. And also post your websites, post your social medias, and what uh, post what problem your business may be solving in your community, and also or post what challenge you plan on overcoming this year. And hey, maybe somebody from the mob will reach out and help you guys with those goals. Again, we have a lot of resources for you guys on the website. Make sure you guys definitely check out www.masteringOurBusiness.com. We got a lot of great resources for you guys, and we just got a lot. We just, it's all about building community. Over these last couple of years, we've had the privilege of working with so many of you guys. So, hey, I appreciate you guys and everybody who's just really been supporting us. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Last but not least, real quick, Queen, what advice would you have for any upcoming entrepreneur or any business owner that may be struggling right now?
So 100% for sure, my biggest piece of advice is going to be never think that you can't learn something from somebody else. I am a total sponge and have been in this whole process. When there's somebody who's been doing this for longer than me, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to listen. Too many times I run into people who have struggling businesses and you can't tell them anything. And it's like, bro, I'm your target audience and I'm telling you that these are the things that you're doing wrong or that aren't attractive to me and my crew. And it's always a back and forth. And I'm like, you should just be listening to like what your customers are trying to tell you, or what other entrepreneurs are in your shoes are trying to tell you. And yeah, that's probably the biggest piece of advice. You're not bigger than the program. There's always somebody that you can learn from. Just be willing to just be a sponge and just absorb it and implement it in your own way. But please be open to constructive criticism and feedback. The only way to grow and to become better is to know what you're doing wrong and then fix it. That is my one biggest piece of advice that I see when I see somebody who has a business and is not doing well. I try to help, and I get hit with the well, and it's always I'm not arguing with you. I'm trying to tell you I'm your target audience and here's what you're doing wrong. They don't want to listen. And then whenever they go out of business or bankrupt, have to file for bankruptcy or whatever their issue is, it's, oh well, the community just didn't support me. And it's like, no, that's not true. So that would definitely be my biggest, best piece of advice.
Hey, I always like to say the day you stop learning, that's when you're dead. I tell
Yep.
business owners this all the time. I don't care how long you've been in business. I've seen people in business for 20 years, go out of business. Just off, things like the pandemic, not adapting,
Mm-hmm.
not adapting to, just, we're in a whole new millennium now. A lot of these
Yep.
old tactics, they don't work anymore. I was just talking about, like I said, I
Mm-hmm.
was talking about this with another business owner, talking about radio advertisement. We're in a whole
Mm-hmm.
new millennium now, and we have to adapt, you guys. So real quick, let the people know where they can find you on social media, where they can reach out, and if you can, and if you're willing to, give the mob a quick shout out.
Okay. So again, Melanie King with Drip and Sip Coffee and Tea. We're located at 1146 Big Bethel Road in Hampton, Virginia. If you're local and want to stop by and try us out. On social media, we're Drip, DRIP, the letter N, SIP, SIP 757. We are on TikTok and Facebook, same handle. And shout out to the mob. Thank you so much for having me on and to showcase my little coffee shop in Hampton, Virginia. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Queen. I appreciate you, Queen, so much. I really can't wait to just see what else you have in store and see how we can actually, add more value and collab later on down the line. Hey, if you guys are on live, definitely make sure you guys follow her page. And if you're in the area, definitely go get a latte for me. Go get your latte or something like that for me, and support this lovely queen. I appreciate you for just all the gems that you drop. That's what it's all about. Hopefully, it's all about just touching at least one person. If you can touch one person, and give them the confidence, give them the confirmation, keep pushing. That's what this is all about. So again, if you are tapped in with us, make sure you guys follow her page, follow her journey, and also follow the mob, man. Follow Mastering Our Business. Make sure you guys check out our website. Again, and also make sure you guys post your websites in the comments so we can check out some of the websites that you have, and possibly do an audit for you guys. And if you have any questions or concerns, make sure you guys drop them in the comments. We will be sending out DMs. We're big on reaching out to you guys. And we just want to make sure we're connecting with the community and making sure that you guys have all the resources possible to be successful. It's all about generational wealth and continuing on pushing forward. I want to leave you guys with a assignment, and this is all about, since we're in month one, we're in module one, introduction to entrepreneurship. What I want you guys to do, and it's called the why audit. And we talked about learning your why and figuring out your why earlier. What I want you guys to do, I want you to write a one-page founder's manifesto. I want you to detail exactly why you're starting this venture or why you started your venture. I want you to jot down your core values that that basically guide your decisions, and what success looks like for you beyond just profit, right? I want you guys to write down your why. And hey, feel free to send them to us via email, via DM. We would love to see you guys' assignments. We'd love to see when people actually complete these assignments. Remember, this assignment is not for us, it's for you. This is something that you already should be doing if you're a business owner. Again, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys definitely like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, my family, I'll talk to you shortly.